بسم الله والحمد لله. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family and his companions, and upon who follow upon his guidance into the establishment of the last day, to proceed, ikhwan. فإنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعاء لا يسمع. Verily, we seek refuge with you from knowledge there is no benefit, and from a heart there is no fear, and from a soul there has no satisfaction, no contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered, Proceed يا إخوان ولأصحاب الكتب. فوصلنا بحمد الله إلى صفحة 59. So for all those that have the book, alhamdulillah, we have arrived at page number 59. وبدأنا في سورة جديدة. We have, alhamdulillah, entered ourselves upon a new surah. وهي سورة قريش. وتعلمنا بعض الكلمات الجديدات بحمد الله. And we have learned some new vocabulary. Walhamdulillah. ما كلمة الشتاء. From these words we learn الشتاء. Who knows the meaning of the word shita, ya ikhwan? Our sister says the winter. MashaAllah. الشتاء, the winter. الشتاء. وكذلك تعلمنا أيضا الصيف. We also learned the word. من يترجم هذه الكلمة? Who can translate this word, يا إخوان? الصيف. Our sister says summer. MashaAllah. طيب, اليوم عندنا بعض الكلمات الأخرى. كلمات أخرى. We have some new vocabulary words, يا إخوان. منها الطعامة. Our first word of today, كلمة الطعامة. ما معنى الطعامة? What does it mean, الطعامة? Something connected to food. Something about food. Try it again. Something about food. Say it again. MashaAllah. أحسنتي. Our sister says تفيد. وهذا طيب. تفيد someone. تفيد someone. أطعمت أم عالية ابنها. Our sister, you say أطعمت أم عالية تشبه عالية ابنها. Make this big يا إخوان. You say in the sentence أطعمت, she fed. Who did the feeding? أم عالية ابنها. أم وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. عالية fed her son. أم عالية ابنها. جميلة. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. طيب ومنها, and from these words يا إخوان. طيب خوف. طيب وقبل ذلك, before that, أطعم is on what wasn't? أطعم وعليكم السلام is on what wasn't? أطعم is on what scale? Our sister says أفعل. أطعم. That's correct. أفعل أطعم. طيب أطعم أفعل, that is the فعل أفعل. That's the fourth form. أفعل. تعلمنا هذا الوزن قبله. هذا الوزن قبله. We learned this scale before. Some of our newcomers may not have learned this scale yet with us. But this scale, أفعل, it's the fourth form. أفعل. The fourth form of فعل. The fourth form of فعل. The مضارع, we learned the shape of it. And the مضارع becomes يفعل. 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 So the first letter is always going to be مضمومة. And the مضارع is always going to have a ضمة. It's always going to be مسكونة. And the third is always going to be if you memorize that, ضمة كسرة, you have the scale in the مضارع. First word, first letter مضمومة. Second letter مسكونة. And the third letter كسرة مكسورة. So أطعم, the مضارع would be يطعم. يطعم. He feeds, or he is feeding. يطعم. يطعم المسلم جاره. The Muslim is feeding his neighbor. The submitter, the one who submits, is feeding his neighbor. طيب أين الفعل أم سكينة? Where's the verb أم سكينة? Where's the verb? MashaAllah. يطعم is the verb. Sheikh Nakir, أين الفاعل? Where's the doer? جاره. طيب تقربت close. Not جاره. أين الفاعل يا أبا زبير? Where's the doer أبو زبير? The yeah on what word? يطعم. طيب Abu Zubair says the yeah. طيب whose turn? Alia, أين الفاعل? Where's the doer? المسلم is the doer يا إخوان. المسلم. The فاعل. You're gonna write الفاعل. المسلم. Whose turn? Joseph Alisi. Who else do we have? Ibrahim with us tonight. Sakina. Our brother Rashid. طيب. Abu Zubayr. طيب. Our brother Rashid Abdul Raqib. كيف عرفنا أن المسلم فاعل? How do we know that the word Muslim is the doer? How do we know the word Muslim is a doer? Because of the alif lam. Oh, close. Alif wa lam or dhamma, which one? You got to go back to your principles يا إخوان. الرجوع إلى مراجعة المعلومات من طلب العلم. Going back to rehearse and review what you have already learned is from seeking knowledge. Remember يا إخوان, you always have to go back and review. Some days you're going to do more review than you did learning. Some days you're going to learn one thing. You're going to learn one thing. You may learn, for example, today, what's a principle يا إخوان? طيب من قواعد النحو أن المفعول به منصوب. You may learn one principle, and this principle will be من قواعد النحو. One thing. من قواعد النحو المفعول به منصوب. That's it. One thing you learn. You may learn the whole day. The only thing new you learned was this one thing. From the principles of grammar is that the maf'ulun bihi is accusative. That's it. You may learn one thing. That's it. But you may went over 3 juz of Quran. Our brother says, I'm sorry, I'm at work. Oh, no problem, Yahi. Afwan. You may learn one principle. The maf'ulun bi is accusative. Al-maf'ulu bihi is accusative. That's it. But you went over 25 hadith. You memorized, you went over 2 juz of Quran. You went over 3 principles of fiqh. But what did you learn? One thing. Some days you're going to review more than you learn, depending on how much knowledge you have to go over. When you're first starting out, it's not that much. When you have a lot of Quran, a lot of hadith, a lot of vocabulary, it becomes more. So, how do we know that the Muslim is the fa'il? Because of the dhamma. That's it. Marfu'. Memorize this phrase, ya ikhwan. How do you know Muslim is the doer? You're going to say, because it's marfu'. Huwa marfu'. Or if you're talking about the word, you would say, hiya marfu'. Memorize this, ya ikhwan. Marfu'. It is nominative. That's it. Meaning it ends in dhamma, or what takes the place of dhamma. Hiya marfu'. That's it. It is nominative. That's it. Whose turn? Sister Valesi. أين المفعول به? مفعول به in this sentence. ما شاء الله أحسنت. جاره. جارة. The neighbor is the مفعول به. The مفعول به is the opposite. It's going to be the noun. The noun that comes after the verb, that's accusative. It's always going to be accusative. The fa'il is always marfu'. The maf'ulun bi is always mansub. That's two principles, ya ikhwan. Memorize that. That is always marfu'. Always. In every example, you can mention this should be Arabic. Al-fa'ilu marfu'. This is a principle that's never broken. Some principles are conditional. Al-fa'ilu marfu'. That's a principle, ya ikhwan. The doer is nominative. Memorize that. احفظوها. Memorize this principle. It's going to help you tremendously. Another principle is al-maf'ulu bihi mansub. Principle, ya ikhwan. Wa alaikum salam. Fadal.
You said marfu', right?
Naam. That's a typing error on my part. Marfu'. This should be ayn. Ahsan. Shukran. Al-fa'ilu marfu'. No. Shukran ya akhi. I intended to type ayn, but my fingers typed alam. Maf'ulu bihi mansubun. That's a principle. The maf'ulun bihi is accusative. Memorize that, ya ikhwan. The maf'ulu bihi is accusative. Another principle. So our sister says the maf'ulun bihi was jarahu. Naam. Whose turn? يطعم المسلم جاره. أين المضاف والمضاف إليه أبو زبير؟
المسلم was مضاف also.
المسلم was مضاف. Abu Zubayr says the Muslim is the mudaf. Super close, super close. أين المضاف؟ وأين المضاف إليه؟ Which one? Our sisters, Alia, she says Jara, and the who is the mudaf ilayh. That's correct. Jara, the neighbor, is al-mudaf. Al-mudaf, and the who is the mudaf ilayh. No. Sorry. His neighbor. So the neighbor by itself is the object, and his is the thing, the noun that the object is attributed to. His neighbor. No. One of the best ways, ya ikhwan, to be proficient in grammar is to always rehearse. If you notice, most of the questions, we're asking you the same 6 questions. فاعل, مفعول به, مضاف, مضاف إليه, مبتدأ, خبر. Same beginning points of grammar. But once you get them down, you got them. Once you can identify them and know what you're looking at, you got it. So let's do one more word, ya ikhwan. Another new word we have today. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Is khawfun. 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 Fear. Khawfun. Fear. Khawfun. Khawfun is from the verb khafa. The mudari' yakhufu. Khafa akhaf. Right. Khafa yakhufu. Yakhufu. خوف. طيب نبدأ إن شاء الله. So let's begin إن شاء الله يا إخوان. فكنا نقرأ سورة قريش. So we were reading from سورة قريش. فمن يريد أن يقرأ? Who wants to recite يا إخوان?
ما شاء الله.
تفضل يا أبا زبير.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
ما شاء الله أحسنت يا أخي أحسنت. طيب ومن؟ Who else wants to recite يا إخوان?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
جميلا جميلا أحسنت أحسنت. ومن Who else يا إخوان?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
ما شاء الله أحسنتي أحسنتي. ومن
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
ما شاء الله أحسنتي أحسنتي. ومن
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش إيلاف رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
ما شاء الله جميلا جميلا أحسنتي أحسنتي. ومن هذا آخركم? She was the last of you. طيب فائدة يا إخوان. Remember what أخوات our brothers and sisters يا إخوان عندما العبد يقرأ من القرآن من السورة كاملة مثلا فرق بدلا من أن يتكلم ويذكر آية. Remember يا إخوان, there's a difference if the Muslim is reading the Quran, like reading a whole surah in the Quran or part of the surah from the Quran. There's a difference between reading the surah and just talking or having a class and then refer to a verse. If you're talking amongst your sisters, the brothers are with the brothers, the sisters with the sisters, and Abu Zubayr just mentions a verse. He says, oh, this reminds me of the verse, Ya Ikhwan, وَالَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. Like here, you don't have to say, أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. And you don't have to say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. But you're giving the Jumu'ah and you're mentioning the benefit that you want to talk about. And then you mention the verse, Allahu Ta'ala. In the Jumu'ah, you don't have to say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Unless you recite the whole surah or part of the surah from the beginning. If you just mention the verse, you just mention a verse. For example, Ihdina sirat, qala Allah Ta'ala, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. But if you're reciting the surah itself, you're not in a general sitting. You're mentioning the surah from the beginning or part of the surah, and you start from the beginning. Then you would say, as I believe only one of you did, Wallahu Alam, and you recited the A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Most of you just began with the Bismillah. If you're reading the surah, whether from your memory or reading, or you're following along the whole surah or most of the surah, and you start from the beginning, you will say, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. قال بعض العلماء هذا على الوجوب. Some scholars say that's obligatory. وقال بعضهم على الاستحباب. Some scholars say it's recommended. الراجح والله أعلم أنه على الوجوب. The strongest opinion, and Allah knows best, is that it's obligatory. والبسملة كذلك. إذا تبدأ من بداية السورة تقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ثم البسملة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم بداية السورة, and then you begin the surah. So that's a benefit, Ikhwan. I believe one of you did it. Perhaps it was Sister Valisi, Wallahu Alam. It's a sunnah in the beginning of the surah, when you start from the beginning, or most of the surah, or all of the surah, and you start from the beginning. Another benefit, if you're reading the surah and you're not starting from the beginning, say you pick up the surah in the middle. You pick up the surah in the middle. Now you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, and it's not obligatory to say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The Bismillah is when you start at the beginning. You guys understand that? Allah.
If one person says the isti'adah, does that still mean we can still say it each time we read it?
If you're reading it separate?
Like we did just now, yes.
No, if you're reading, the sister's asking if we're reading separately from the same surah, but reading separately in different voices, do we all say the A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim? The strongest opinion is yes. Everyone's voice is different. Everyone's reading. You get a reward for listening to the Quran. Shaykh Ibn Abbasi says, Sami'ul Quran musharikun fil ajr al-qari. He says the one that is listening to the Quran. You're not doing anything but listening. You put on some Quran, or you're listening to someone recite Quran. You're just listening. You don't say a word. You get a portion of the reward. Yes, you're doing something good. That's worship. But the reward is not the same. Secondly, there are two actions there. Similar to Alia's question, if everyone is reading the same surah in different voices, then everyone that recites should do those principles. If that's the beginning of the surah, this is my first time reciting, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Beginning of the surah, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Not the beginning of the surah, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim, and then I can start from the middle of the surah. If I'm in the Jumu'ah, I don't have to say A'udhu Billah. I don't have to say Bismillah. I can go right into the ayah. What's my proof to that? What do the scholars use? When you're in the Jumu'ah, you're in a class, you're in a general circle. Aliyah, Sakina, Sis Zakiya, Sis Valesi, whoever else I can't mention at this moment, are all sitting together. And then one of them just says, oh, that reminds me of the verse where Allah Ta'ala says, and she just quotes the verse. She doesn't have to say A'udhu Billah. She doesn't have to say the Bismillah. Why? Because when the Messenger of Allah, when they would mention the verse, not the entire surah, not most of the surah, not starting from the beginning of the surah, they would just say the surah, say the verse. Many of those hadith, they would say, and then the Prophet of Allah would recite the following verse. And they would say the verse he recited. And they did not say that he said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim first, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim second, and then the verse. So the scholars of hadith, they say, the strongest is to do what the Prophet of Allah used to do. Wallahu a'lam. No. Inshallah yakunu hadha wadihan. And we hope this is clear, ya ikhwan. Wallahu a'lam. Anyone else? طيب فوصلنا إلى الآية الثالثة. So I believe, wallahu a'lam, we landed, we reached the third verse. تعلمنا معنا الرحلة. We learned the meaning of الرحلة. What is الرحلة يا إخوان? Huh? Ahsant, a trip, a voyage, a safar. Ahsant. طيب تعلمنا هذه اللام. We learned this lam here. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا. What type of lam is this? فَلْيَعْبُدُوا. MashaAllah. Santi. This lam here. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا. This lam here. Her name is the lam Amr. Lamul Amr. The command for. The lam of command. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا. So now we have two lambs of the verb and one lamb of a noun. Our brother says lamu ta'lim. You could call it lamu ta'lim. The more appropriate meaning or term would be lamul amr, the lamb of command. Some of the modern, I wouldn't say modern, some of the scholars that came later on, they would say the ta'lim. But the earlier imams of the Arabic language would say lamu al-amr. Lamu al-amr, the lamb of command. The lamb of command. So now we have lamb of command. Two lambs of verbs. One lamb that falls on a noun. What's one of the lambs that falls on the verb? MashaAllah. Harufu nasb. Jamilan. Harufu nasb. Allahu Akbar. And the second lamb that falls on a noun, a verb? Lam al-amr. طيب. Lamb that falls on a harfu jar?
Just give us an answer.
Huh? Oh, afwan. I was about to say you give us the answer. I did, yeah. Afwan.
You gave us the answer. You said harfu jar.
No. That's true. طيب. And the lamb that falls on the noun name is harfu jar. Harfu jar. Why is it important? A person may say, أنا لا أرى فائدة دراسة النحو. A person may say, I don't see the benefit of grammar. A person may say, I don't see the benefit of grammar.
It would be sadly mistaken because you needed to know how the words function.
Okay, you need it for its function, mashallah, and that's correct. It's true that sometimes not every Muslim sees the same benefit that another Muslim sees. Aliyah asked the question the other day. about her class in Bulugh al-Maram. عندها درس في بلوغ المرام مع النساء. She has a class in which the women, they come together and derive some benefit from Bulugh al-Maram. فسألت سؤالا فأجبت على سؤالها فهي تقول كلاما مثل هذا الكلام أنا ما عرفت هذا قبله. So she asked a question, mashallah, may Allah reward her, and we tried our best to answer her. She said after that, some speech similar to this, I never knew that. I didn't know that prior. The point is, ya ikhwan, not every Muslim sees the same benefit that someone else sees at that same time. I remember when I first began studying grammar, I couldn't tell alif from ba, that. It was difficult for me. And I studied the one book that we went over in Yemen once. Memorized the mitten, had no idea about the principles. It was difficult for me. Second time, still didn't understand. Third time, mashallah, I was at the head of the class. But at first, I didn't know. I didn't understand. My point is, sometimes you may not see something someone else sees at that moment. So someone could say, I don't see the benefit of grammar. Just because you don't see a benefit doesn't mean there is no benefit. But grammar is important, ya ikhwan. Grammar is connected to every science. You want to be strong in Quran, you have to study grammar. You want to be strong in hadith, you have to study grammar. You want to be strong in the Arabic language, you have to study grammar. You want to be strong in al-fiqh, there's not a science except that it's connected to grammar unless you're learning it in English. But if you're learning the sciences in their original form, you have to take some time out for grammar.
I had a friend who was in Egypt for like 4 years. He only knew how to speak slang. The sister he was talking to was speaking Fusa. And he used to be like, what's she saying?
It's different.
For 4 years.
But it's not about, Sheikh Nakir, it's not about where the person lived or not.
Right.
You know, many of us, we think that, the person sat with the ulama, he has knowledge. Or the sister memorizes Quran or studies hadith or whatever. She was in Saudi, she must know this and this. It's not a condition, ya ikhwan.
Right.
So, Ammiya, like us in English, we speak English. Most of us speak broken English. Most of us don't speak proper. If we had to speak proper sentences every time, many of us we wouldn't talk. We couldn't talk.
Yeah.
We're so accustomed to speaking the speech of the street. And we went to high school, middle school, some of us college. Similarly, in Egypt or Yemen or whatever country they're in. So let's get back to the lesson, ya ikhwan. طيب. قال الله تعالى أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. طيب, this last verse, there are two ways to recite it. You can stop after ju' and you can pause. You can say الذي أطعمهم من جوع, pause. And then you can say وآمنهم من خوف. Or you can recite the verse straight through. طيب, Allah Ta'ala says الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. طيب, الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. طيب, let's add our vowels. الذي أطعمهم آمنهم من شبه السكون من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. Allah Ta'ala says, Alladhi, He is the one, meaning Allah, at'amahum, that fed them, gave them to eat. At'amahum, He is the one that fed them. At'amahum, He is the one that at'amahum, He fed them. Ju' is hunger, extreme hunger. Ju' hunger. Ju' hunger. Where's my spell? Alia, hunger. Hungry.
A-R.
A-R?
A-R.
Hunger. Diet. Shukran. طيب الذي أطعمهم من جوع. He is the one, Allah, that fed them من جوع, from hunger. Wow, حرف عطف, connection or conjunction. آمنهم. Amana means to protect, to make someone safe. Amana. Amana, to protect someone safe. Amana. More than protect, to keep safe. Amana. Amana. This should be elongation. Amana. Keep safe. Just because someone is protecting you doesn't mean they're keeping you safe. Two different meanings. Our brother says one of the benefits of studying grammar is to understand the Quran properly. And that's correct. You're not going to understand the Arabic, the Quran, ya ikhwan, correctly, completely, unless you take some time out to study grammar. Amana, to keep safe. So it's more than protect. I can protect, you can protect me, I can protect you, and I can still get harmed. No. Amana, you don't get harmed. To keep someone safe. So it's a little bit more than just protecting.
Is it like a trust?
It could be a trust depending on what it is. That will be amana. The word amana is from this origin. Amana. I tell you, I say, okay, ya ikhwan, whoever's watching this class now, this next benefit is an amana between my sheikh, me, and you. You can't teach it to anyone else. If you agree to that, then you can't share this benefit. I say, my sheikh, Abu Fida, he said, and I give you a benefit, but you agree to this amana, this knowledge will be secret. It's not correct to keep knowledge secret, ya ikhwan. That's just an example. I'll tell you a secret. I say, what's a secret, ya ikhwan? Any secret that I can't think of at this moment, I give you a secret. And I say, this is between me and you. You say, okay. Now, some people blame the person that mentioned the secret, but technically he's not blamed. Technically. It may not have been wise for him to mention the secret, yes, but you are allowed to mention secrets in Islam. You didn't do nothing wrong. So you're not blamed for doing something wrong, something that's right. Now, most of us, we love drama. Most of us love fitna. Most of us love, that's just the nature of us, especially on our level. We're not happy when some good befalls each other. No, we're sad. You're outdoing me, or whatever the case is. But some evil or something harmful falls, most of us get happy. And that's incorrect, Yahweh. That shows the lack of brother and sisterhood that we have for one another. Many of us, we say we love each other for Allah's sake, but that's just a statement. Many of us say we marry for Allah's sake, and this is a reminder to myself firstly, and my brothers and sisters secondly. This phrase we use often. Write this down here. Lillah, for Allah's sake. We say this often. Every Muslim is going to Allahu Akbar. Another way you can say it is Fi Sabilillah. You can say Lillah, or you can say Fi Sabilillah, or you can say Li Wajhillah, seeking Allah's face, or the face of Allah, meaning the reward of Allah. The meaning is the same. For Allah. Or you can say for the sake of Allah. But this has a meaning. Really care for each other as brothers and sisters for the sake of Allah, we wouldn't be happy when harm befalls our brothers and sisters. It would grieve us also. The sister is sick, I'm sick. Why are you sick? That's my sister, Yahi. The brother is ill, I'm ill. Why are you sad? My brother is sick. My brother is sad, I'm sad. What makes you sad? That's my brother. Allah Ta'ala mentions, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ Surah Al-Hujurat. Allah Ta'ala says, verily the believers are brothers and sisters to one another. So you're going to be affected by what affects your brother. You're going to be affected by what affects your sister. We should be. We say this phrase often. Lillah, fi sabilillah. Many of us say, I love you for Allah's sake. That has a meaning, ikhwan. For example, so now, our last word, amana. Amana isn't just to protect, it's to keep someone safe. To the best of your ability, of course. And that, it could be a trust, as our brother says. Could it be a trust? It could be more than a trust. Like we mentioned, you share a secret with someone. Yeah, this is between me and you. Now he knows he's not going to be able to keep it, so he shouldn't agree to it. The brother says, can I share a secret with you? You know you're not good at keeping secrets. You should say, no, Yahi, I'm not good at that. No, disclose this with someone else. You know yourself. Alhamdulillah. But many of us, can I share a secret with you? Yes, of course you can. And then as soon as she says it, he says it, he displays it to everyone. Oh, yeah, did you hear such and such and such? So now he committed the sin. He violated that amana. That's a trust. That will be a trust. So it comes from the same origin, but two different words. No. Another amana, you let someone hold a piece of property of yours. And you say to this person, you can use this, but don't let such and such use it. You can use it, but don't let such and such use it. So he's giving you a condition. If you agree to that condition, you cannot let such and such use it. If you let such and such use it, you violated that trust.
Wow.
You give someone some money. Sometimes a man says to his wife, hey, hold this $100. Just hold it for me. Don't spend it on anything. Just hold it. She spends it. She goes to the mall. You know, the women, they go to the mall, mashallah. She buys whatever she buys with that $100. You don't know. And then she replaces it. She still committed a sin. Even if she replaces it. Why? Because she didn't have that right. She didn't get permission from that person. If she gets permission and he says yes, no problem. I say, hold this $100. She says, okay. Don't spend it on anything. Hold it. That's the condition. She says, okay. And then she buys something from the store and replaces it back before you knew. She still violated the amana. No. تفضل يا أخي.
You know, like, marriage would also be an amana, right?
Marriage is there, depending on what it is specifically, there could be an amana or many amana in marriage. But can you refer to marriage as an amana with the word? Allahu Alam. Because I don't know any proof that Allah refers to marriage as an amana or the Messenger of Allah as an amana. But yes, the meaning of it, even if that word is not used like that, the meaning of it is there. It's a covenant. It would be probably more honorable to say aqd or ittifaqun. But it is covenants there. There are.
It's there, but not said.
Not that word. No, this is. It will be more honorable to refer to it as the say, and you can call it a aqd, a contract.
It's implied.
No, it can be implied. You can say aqd, a contract. You could say ittifaqun, mashallah. And the contract is between three people, or two people, three entities. Between Allah and the groom and the bride. So she's making a contract between the man and the woman and between themselves and the sight of Allah. No. But it could be amana within ittifaqun. But to say marriage is an amana, you may have to have proof to refer to it like that. I don't know any proof right now that the Prophet mentioned that marriage is an amana, or Allah Ta'ala mentioned that marriage is an amana. But it could be implied. No. طيب. Anyone else, يا إخوان?
Keep thinking back on the two words that you were talking about right now.
And عقد اتفاق. Sheikh Fawzan defines marriage, ya ikhwan, in a very beautiful manner. In his book Al-Mulakhas, he says, النكاح هو عقد شرعي بين الزوجين بأن به يستطيع أن يرضى بها وهي تستطيع أن ترضى به. أو كما قال رحمه الله. He says that marriage is a legislative contract between the two parties that gives them allowance, permission to enjoy each other. MashaAllah. No. So it's an aqd. And some people think that marriage has to be written down. It doesn't have to be written down, ya ikhwan. The marriage itself is an aqd. If you write it down or not, writing is not part of the marriage. You can write it down, but it's not a condition that it has to be written. The marriage itself is a contract. Yes, you can write it. I married this sister. I gave her such and such. She said this and this and this and this. Alhamdulillah. But is that a condition that it has to be written down? No. The marriage itself is an aqd. No. You have them, Abu Zubayr?
No, I haven't.
And this would be agreement or contract. Alright, let's continue, ikhwan. Min ju'. He says, ضد the word ju'. He says, what is ju'? ضد Ashiba is the opposite of being satisfied, meaning with regards to hunger. When your stomach is full, shabi'tu, I'm full. So he says, buddu ashiba, the opposite of being satisfied, meaning regarding food. You were he said it's the opposite, buddu ashiba, opposite of being filled. Talking about food. Our brother says, Assalamu alaikum. May Allah bless you for the beneficial knowledge. May Allah honor you also. May Allah raise you. Our beloved Sheikh, Abu Zoj, Abu Rose, Lizoj, our beloved brother, Abu Rahman. May Allah bless you, Akhi. He says, where Allah Ta'ala says, Ata'amahum. Ata'amahum. He says, A'tahum ta'aman. MashaAllah. A nice, beautiful way to understand this, ikhwah. The word ata'amahum, where Allah says, and He gave them food. He fed them. He says, meaning, a'tahum ta'aman, meaning that He gave them food. A'tahum at-ta'ama. MashaAllah. At-ta'ama. That's going to be on your test here. A'tahum ta'ama. Right. Next point. He says, الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم. طيب, آمنا. آمنهم. He says, أنعم عليهم بالأمن. MashaAllah, ya ikhwan. This is similar to the book آمنهم. Ali used this one a lot, the Tafsir Jalalain. آمنهم. So he says, meaning, أنعم عليهم بالأمن. It says, meaning, He bestowed upon them safety. As I mentioned, it's more than just protecting. It's not just you're defending someone. No. Amana is more than dafa'a. Dafa'a means to defend. But amana is like the highest level of defending. You kept the person safe. Not you try only. You were successful. An'ama alayhim bil aman. A beautiful way to break this down. It says, meaning, He bestowed upon them safety. So Allah is the one that kept them safe. So the word al-amnu, you're going to write ضد الخوف. The word al-amn. I will give you خوف first. Al-khawf. You're going to write ضد al-amn. The opposite of safety. You're afraid, you're not safe in your heart. Al-khawf ضد al-amn is the opposite. Al-amn. Al-khawf, the opposite of safety or being safe. Or being in a state of safety. MashaAllah. Right. Any more new words, ya ikhwan? إلاف قريش. طيب, did we go over that point there? إلاف is تعود, a custom. إلاف قريش. إلاف تعود, the custom of the tribe of Quraysh. They had a custom that they would do regarding their. They had a practice, a custom, when they would travel in this some seasons in the winter, going to Yemen. إلاف قريش, the custom of the Quraysh, meaning the Quraysh tribe. Al-amnu ضد الخوف. Al-rihla, we learned that one already. Al-safar, a trip. Any new word? One, did we cover every word? Abada ya'budu, hada, al-sayf, wow, alladhi, that, or who. طيب. Let's continue, ikhwan. Al-ma'na. Now we have the meaning of the surah. What happened? Or what is going on? He says, Al-ma'na, the meaning. Ana amallahu ala Qurayshin. Allah has bestowed upon the Quraysh tribe. He has blessed them. Bi ni'matil amni wa ni'matil ta'am. He has bestowed upon them with the blessing of Allah kept them safe. Wa bi ni'matil ta'am, and the blessing of giving them food. طيب, فائدة يا إخوانا, benefit. The word usually comes with the ba. An'ama usually comes with this ba. An'ama, to bless, usually comes with the ba, to bless or to bestow blessings upon. It usually comes with the ba. An'ama Allahu alayya. Allah bless me. You're about to mention, you're going to use ba. An'ama Allahu alayya bi بالحرص في طلب العلم. The person may say, Allah bless me with the drive of seeking knowledge. The ba أنعم الله علي بالحرص في طلب العلم. Should be allowed. He says Allah has blessed me with. The ba is the ba that comes with the drive to seek knowledge. So an'ama usually comes with this ba. Usually comes with this ba. So the surah, in Surah Al-Quraysh, he says, An'ama Allahu ala Qurayshin. Allah has blessed the Quraysh tribe bi ni'matil amni, with the blessing of safety. Allah kept them safe. Wa ni'mati ta'am. Oh, we have a grammatical question. Ni'mati. Why is ni'ma majroor? Because it's mudaf. Our sister says because it's mudaf ilayh. طيب. Close. Because of the first ba. Our sister says because the first ba. But there's no second ba here. Close. Yeah. Not wa man'ut. Close. All of you are right there. Aliyah was right, but when her breaking it down wasn't right. It's because of this ba, this first ba, and the wow. The wow is a harf ataf, conjunction. So you don't have to mention this ba, because after the wow, what came before it takes the same function as what comes after it. Our sister says it's implied. It is implied because of the wow. So it's like you said the ba twice. It's like if you say bi ni'mati at-ta'am. What do you say first? Ni'mati al-aman, bi ni'mati al-aman, wa bi ni'mati. So you re-say it, or say it again. Wa bi ni'mati at-ta'am. So we have the ba. That one is clear. I said it twice. But with this wow, you don't say it because wow was a harf ataf. It's a conjunction. So you don't have to say it. This ba can be mentioned once now, followed with the wow, and it's like you mentioned it twice. It's implied. Bi ni'mati al-amni wa. The wow again. Wa bi ni'mati at-ta'am. Alright, now we're going to say the same thing and don't mention the second ba because you have the wow. So it's implied that you said the ba again. So it's going to be majroor because it's ma'tuf. That's a new term, ma'tuf, meaning it comes after the conjunction. So the rules that was mentioned before the conjunction is applied to what's mentioned after the conjunction. Like that. So you say bi ni'mati al-amni. Wow. Wa ni'mati at-ta'am. You can do that in the Arabic language. It happens a lot, yeah, in the Quran and Sunnah. This wow is a harf ataf, a conjunction. Rules that fell before it can also be applied to what falls after it. So that ba here makes ni'ma majroor. So this wow here makes the second ni'ma also majroor. The only way it wouldn't do that if this started a new sentence. Say it wasn't a conjunction. Not every wow is a conjunction. But say it wasn't a conjunction. You're starting a new sentence. Then it wouldn't apply. But if it's a conjunction, the rules that came before it also falls on what comes after it. So all of you say that's implied or correct. All of you say because of the ba, the first ba, that's correct. So it's ma'tuf. That's a new term. We'll write that down, ikhwan. Ma'tuf. It is connected. Al-ma'tuf. It's joined by conjunction. That's called ma'tuf. So he says, أَنَعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُرَيْشٍ. Allah bless Quraysh with what? Bi ni'matil amni, with the blessing of safety. Wa ni'matil ta'am, and with the blessing of food. So you don't have to re-say again. You don't have to say, I prayed Fajr, and then I prayed Dhuhr, and then I prayed. No, you don't have to keep saying the verb. You can say it once, and then bring the wow. And whatever fell before it is going to be connected to what comes after. فَكَانَ لِقُرَيْشٍ رِحْلَتَانِ لِلتِّجَارَةِ. So Quraysh, they had with them 2 trips that they would take for commerce and business. So the tribe of Quraysh, they used to traditionally travel twice to do their business. Al-Ula ila al-Yemen. The first trip, they will go from Mecca to Yemen. Fi shita, in the winter. وَالثَّانِيَةُ إِلَى الشَّامِ the Sayf. And the second trip, they will go to Sham, to Syria, Damascus, in the summer. That's a benefit, ikhwan. Quraysh had a tradition, and their tradition, talking about business and commerce and trade, they would travel to Yemen in the winter, and they would travel to Sham in the summer. That was a tradition. He says, لِهَذَا يَجِبُ عَلَيْهِمْ. So for this reason, it is obligatory for them, the Quraysh, and يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ رَبَّ الْبَيْتِ الْحَرَامِ, for them to worship Allah, the Lord of the sacred house, meaning Al-Kaaba. Shukran lahu. Now this is a high-level grammatical point, so I don't know should I mention it or not. Shukran lahu. He says, Shukran lahu, out of gratefulness, showing thankfulness to him. Ala hadhihi ni'am, for these blessings. So we'll give a benefit. The word ni'ma is wal jam' ni'am. The singular is ni'ma. One of our sisters at Masjid Noor, our beloved Ummi, Sister Ni'ma, one of the kindest sisters you're ever going to meet, ya ikhwan. Our beloved brother Derek's Ummi. May Allah bless his family and all of you. Ni'matun. Ni'ma is a blessing. The plural is ni'am. 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 Blessings. So the plural, blessings, a blessing. One blessing, ni'ama. Plural, ni'am. هذه النعم. And the verb origin is an'ama. My name Na'im is derived from this root. Na'ima, an'amu, or an'ama, na'iman. Sorry. So my name Na'imun is from this origin. Na'imun. And then my little son, his name is Nu'aymun. It's also a derivative. Na'imun. His name is Nu'aymun. Nu'aymun. Nu'aym is this little Na'im or small Na'im. No. And then my daughter's name, Na'ima, the feminine. Na'imatun. All of these come from the same root, which means blessings or bounty. No. So ni'am. No. But it will save the benefit. Shukran lahu. There's Arabic called, we mentioned this some months ago, maf'ulun mutlaq. Maf'ulun mutlaq. Mutlaq. The absolute maf'ul. The absolute passive particle or something like that. But any ways you can use it. We'll give you one eloquent way. MashaAllah. Maf'ulun mutlaq. Right. We'll try to make this make some sense here. For example, say to someone, you want to say to someone, study. I'll give an easy one. You want to say to someone, sit down. The verb is jalasa. Jalasa. Jalasa means to sit. You want to command someone to sit. You say, what do you say, Ikhwan? Ijlis. Jamilan. Ijlis. Sit down. Ijlis. That's the command form of the verb. You can also use, this is very eloquent, ya Ikhwan. Only a few scholars I've known of today who you see this in their speech. Sheikh Raslan, or Sheikh in Egypt, Sheikh Muqbil, or Sheikh in Yemen. MashaAllah. Rahimahullah wa hafidhahullah ta'ala ala Sheikh Raslan. Also, who use it a lot, also one of the best grammatical scholars you're going to study with, Sheikh Abdul Razak, hafidhullah. His speech is real eloquent, mashallah. His Arabic is really eloquent. So now you take the masdar of this verb, which is julusun. You want to make this verb a noun. Julusun becomes sitting. That was a noun. Not a verb now. It looks like it's a verb, but it's a noun. Now it becomes sitting. Now you take this masdar and you use it in place of the command form verb. So you do two things. Keep the masdar keep the masdar and make it so instead of saying ijlis, we're going to speak more eloquent. Now, I'm going to give you some higher level Arabic. This is 2 years from now. Instead of giving the command form verb, no, we're going to take the masdar of this verb, julusun, and make it accusative. So you say julusan. This should be a scene. Julusan. Now it means sit down. So it's not a verb. It looks like it's a verb, but you're using the mutlaq in place of the command form verb, like that. Julusan. So the people are making noise. Instead of saying uskut, that's everyday Arabic. Use the verb in the command form. That's everyday Arabic. So now more eloquent. From the verb sakata. Sakata means be quiet. The masdar is sukutun. So now you're going to say sukutan. Means be quiet. You're saying the same thing in a more eloquent way. And you only hear scholars of today, I only heard it from 3 so far. I'm not saying there haven't been others that I can attest to. Sheikh Abdul Razak, Sheikh Raslan, Sheikh Muqbil. They use this often. The maf'ul al-mutlaq in place of the command form verb. Really eloquent to do.
Now, so basically just use the form of the masdar and make it mansub.
All you do, like Abu Zubayr says, you keep the masdar. It has to be the masdar. And you make it mansub. Like that. So if I want to tell you guys to write, instead of saying uktub, well, I'm talking to all of you. So I say uktubu in the plural. Now when using a verb, it has to agree in number. But when using a masdar, the maf'ul mutlaq, it doesn't have to agree. So you're going to keep it. It's not going to be a plural. No. So instead of saying uktubu, write, the masdar of kataba is kitabun. Kitabun. So I say, or kitabatun. There's many for this one. Kitabatun is one also. Kitabatun. Katbun is one too. Some verbs have more than one. Okay, so you say kitabatan, kitabatan, meaning right, yeah, ikhwan. Instead of saying uskut, sukutan, sukutan. Instead of saying sit down, ijlis, julusan. But the tricky part, you say it the same way for the masculine, for the feminine. It doesn't change. So this is called the maf'ul mutlaq. Another way to use it, and this is the last way, we'll stop here. If you say to someone, shukran laka. And that's what we mentioned sometimes, ikhwan. There's a difference between the meaning and the translation. You say shukran laka. Shukran laka. We say thank you. Fine. You say that. But really, the shukran here is the maf'ul mutlaq. It's accusative. Shukran. Shakara. So it really means ashkuruka shukran. If I'm thanking you, shukran. I'm thanking you with a thinking. Ashkuruka shukran. So it's really the maf'ul al-mutlaq of shakara. But that's why they say I thank you. It really means I am thanking you a thanking. Shukran laka.
What about go?
Huh?
How can you apply that to go?
Go, طيب. Just find the masdar. Go. If you use ذهب, ذهب. طيب. ذهب means to go. The masdar of ذهب, there are many. We'll give you two of them, inshallah. ذهب, one masdar. What's a masdar, ikhwan? One masdar is ذهاب. ذهاب. Another one is ذهاب. طيب, that's the one I can think right now. ذهاب. So now you would say ذهابا. ذهابا, meaning go. ذهابا, ذهابا. So you're using the maf'ul al-mutlaq in place of idhab. It's like you're saying go, but in an eloquent way. A more sophisticated way, if I can say that. Remember, ya ikhwan, one of the benefits of learning vocab is to use them. Idhab. So instead of saying idhab, idhab, you say dhahaban. It even sounds more. The meaning is the same. You're not saying nothing different, but it's the style, the way you're saying it.
So really, all you're doing is just altering the last letter on like.
Two things, ikhwan. You have to find the masdar and make it mansuban. That's it. Make it accusative. Whatever the verb is, take the masdar of the verb and make it mansub. That's all you gotta do.
Gotcha.
Right? The verb is akala. I'll give you a few easier ones. Akala means what? MashaAllah. Eat. Akala. So you want to tell someone to eat in a nice, honorable way. So instead of saying kul, that's the everyday Arabic. This your first 2 years of Arabic. You're going to say kul, eat. So now I want to say it a little more eloquently, a little more eloquent. So now I say, I found the masdar. So the masdar is eklun. Eklun. So I just make it mansub. And I say eklan. That's it. Eklan, eklan. So I say eklan, eklan. Eat. I give you one last easy one, ya ikhwan. When two Muslims meet each other, they say what? Now you don't see this in practice. You're never going to see this except from the scholars and the students of knowledge. In the Quran, you find many of the Muslims, when they meet each other, it looks like they're shortening the salams. You see it in Surah Dariyat, Surah Taha. You see it many times in the Quran. Ibrahim, he says it to his father. When the guests came to Ibrahim, they said salaman. Allah Ta'ala says, Hal, what's the ayah, ikhwan? هل أتاك حديث ضيف إبراهيم المكرمين إذ دخلوا عليه قالوا سلاما قالوا أو قال سلام قوم منكرون. طيب. So now have the story of Ibrahim the noble guests of Ibrahim reached you. إِذْ دَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا. When they entered upon him, and they said, Salaman. They're not shortening the salams. قَالُوا, they said, قَالُوا Salaman. They're not saying it in brief. No. They're doing similar. Salaman. قَالُوا Salaman. The verb is salama. 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 Naam. Peace. So salamun is the masdar. Salaman. Oh, they're not shortening it. It's just another way you can give salams. You can say salaman, meaning salamu alaykum, usallimu alaykum salaman. It means I'm greeting you with the greeting of assalamu alaykum. A nice eloquent way you can do it. So the meaning is there. You say assalamu alaykum, you say salaman. Same meaning. Akala, kul, aklan, jalasa, ijlis, julusan. The meaning is the same. You're not saying nothing different. Like that. Alright, so today, ikhwan, we did Surah Quraysh for homework. I want you to continue with the exercises. Exercise number 1. Akmil kama fi namudaj. Complete as it comes in the example. At-tijara. Nasi rihlat at-tijara. So you're just going to change whatever word they give you on the bracket. You're just going to add it to the end of the sentence. Ilafun nas, a custom of the people, is a trip for tijara. So you're going to say Ilafun nasi rihlata al-hajj, is a trip for hajj. So you're going to change the word, whatever word they give you in the bracket. You're going to replace that word with the ending of the word in the sentence. And we'll continue inshallah ta'ala after that. And hopefully I'll have the test graded by then inshallah. I still haven't received everyone's test yet. So we're giving another day or so to get everyone's test inshallah. Our brother.
Did you receive mine? I put it in that folder that was sent to me.
So we have Sister Valesis, you sent yours on the website?
It was a folder. A mail has sent me to put my homework and stuff in. That's where I put it at.
Okay, the Google Drive folder?
Yeah, the Google Drive, yes.
Okay, inshallah. Shukran. And then we have some of you use, since I can't use the Telegram, we have Sheikh Nakir's also. So I didn't receive everyone's yet, so we're going to give one more day or so. And then the next class, no matter what, we're going to just give everyone the test back, inshallah. Whoever's we don't have, we just don't have, and we'll go from there, inshallah.
Now, I sent mine on the Google Drive, too.
Okay. May Allah bless you both here.
Me too. I posted mine on the Google Drive folder.
Okay. And Sakina's also. Shukran. Ali, you have to give me the link so I can check the Google Drive on my side also, inshallah. Inshallah. Our brother says, our brother, Abu Bara, Sheikh Muhammad, he says, may Allah reward you, ya Sheikh, for your consistency. Also, and you also, ya Sheikh. Keep up the good work. May Allah honor you and raise you. And make us all from the scholars of Al-Islam one day. May Allah bless you, ya Sheikh. May Allah bless you. So we stop there, ikhwan. فَنَصَبْتُ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ وَنَخْتَلْتُ فَمِنْ نَفْسِي. Anything that we said that's correct is from Allah. Anything we said that's incorrect is from ourselves. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our brother says, the interacting way, download freeconferencecall.com. Hey, assalamu alaikum ya Ibrahim. كيف أنت يا أخي? May Allah bless you. Always an honor to hear your voice, man. Alhamdulillah. So if you download a free conference call, I'll give you my link, inshallah. How you been, man? Father.
When we see that some of the vocabulary we have, the wazn, some of the wazn, the popular, wazn, so I want to Really, to understanding it, or you just have to like practice continuously to be able to like master vocabulary.
Our brother's asking, is there like a scale you can use for the meaning? There is, inshallah, and maybe one day we'll try to continue little by little in some sarf. Maybe we'll take 2 days or so outside of that and go over the different meanings of the scales and how they're understood. That'll be beneficial also, inshallah. You can try that, inshallah, ikhwan. There is a scale that you can memorize for each one. Some of them are the same. Some of them don't really have any particular pattern. But it is a general scale we can show you by Allah's mercy to help you further understand the meaning of each scale, inshallah. That's a good idea, Ibrahim. We can do that, inshallah. Ameen, Allahumma ameen, Allahumma ameen. Now, so we'll try that, inshallah. Maybe in addition to our classes, one day or so, we'll take two classes or so and go over the different scales, inshallah. And may Allah bless.
I mean, inshallah, you on the notes, would you mention the meaning
and ama, inshallah. Right here, I believe ni'ma and nam. Right. And ama usually comes with the ba. And then ana Allahu alayya bi. That's the example used. So we'll stop there, inshallah, and we'll continue the next class, inshallah ta'ala. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For our brothers on the YouTube, that will conclude today's class. We'll stop there.